you doing, Jake? What's up, man?
How you doing, fam? How you guys been? What's been rocking
Good,
lately?
good, man. We had an extra day off. That's why Jake wanted to come on Monday. I was like, hey, we ain't gonna be here.
Mm-hmm.
In the words of Magic Johnson, but you can definitely come on Tuesday because me and Jake, we had a little. It wasn't even a back and forth. We're in agreement, but we were just talking through text about the story that came out at the end of Friday. Basically,
Yeah.
there was a story in the Athletic saying the Kings, Sacramento, is the front runner to be the temporary home for the A's before they go to Las Vegas. Now, once that story came out, a lot of people like, no, it's just posturing, it's just this, and I'm not dismissed. It could be all of that, but I haven't heard a reason as to why that probably wouldn't be the best case scenario for the A's. I think that's the best thing for them to do is to come to Sacramento. I got a dog in the fight. I'm a little biased,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't heard a sound reason why they shouldn't. But Jake, you're definitely locked in on that. That's why I text you because you're locked in on this thing for a year now.
Yeah, it's been a year now. Let me preface this, guys, with saying, you know this. I'm not from here, right? I have been here, boots on the ground, for almost a year and a half. I have no relation to Sacramento, so this is an outsider's perspective looking in on all of this situation. I'd love to have this discussion with you guys because you, of course, have been here for the Kings relocation with the Maloofs, and we'll preface this with this. Like I said, I haven't been here for a while. Okay, so every decision of Sacramento trying to acquire a baseball team makes sense to me. I will also say this: there's a certain radio anchor that works for a different station that says, "Hey, we don't want them here. Send them away." And I don't understand that one freaking bit, because if you want to see the city grow, if you want to see sports in Sacramento become bigger and better on a grander stage, it's either going to come through one, expansion, which is really hard to do nowadays, especially without a big shark, or two, a team moving here. With the A's moving to Sacramento, it makes way too much sense. People are saying, yes, it's a ploy to try to get Oakland back to the table and lower the lease price on the Coliseum, and then also have to grandfather in a situation where if they do leave Oakland, okay, they're up for the expansion team, especially if they end up going to Vegas. But it makes too much sense to come here to Sacramento. One, they keep the TV rights deal, right? It's still within the NBC Sports Bay Area window because they have the Kings here. They have a satellite on top of Golden One Center that they can beam up to their spaceship or whatever you want to call it, and be able to send out their signal.
Real quick, I want you to expand on that a little bit because I over the weekend I kept hearing two different things. I kept hearing that the NBC Sports California is officially like under that window, they'd be able to keep that $70 million or whatever. Then I heard other people saying, no, it wouldn't be they have to stay in the Bay Area. It's not where the games are telecast. They'd have to work out a deal. I'm of the belief and I've heard from a number of different people, because the games are telecast here in Sacramento, it would fall under the broadcast. They'd keep the whole 70 million. But I'm not sure. I've heard two different things. What have you heard about that specifically?
I've specifically heard that it stays underneath that window. That window is still covered because, like you said, one, the games are shown locally here, and two, they already have an antenna here, or whatever you want to call it, to be able to broadcast these games. It's not like moving it to Salt Lake City where they'd have to figure out a whole new broadcast setup. The setup is already here. For twofold. One, like I said, they have something on top of the Golden One Center that's a satellite that can send the signal everywhere. And then two, I already know Sutter Health Park personally is retrofitted for a broadcast because we show the broadcast on KMAX for the River Cats every Saturday. So it's a win-win in terms of the TV broadcast stuff because you already have, like, when you're trying to recreate a stadium and you want all those different angles for a baseball game, right? You got to have all these different camera wells and all these different setups and everything. The fact that Sutter Health Park already has it is huge. You don't have to worry about that. And then the only other thing you got to worry about is how we're going to get the signal from the stadium over to Golden One for them to beam it up into space. Man, that's a win-win. So the $70 million, you also don't have to spend any more money on trying to figure out, A, how to get out of the contract, Or two, how, if we want to stay with this contract, how are we going to be able to honor it to the point where we're not breaking the contract? It's a win-win on the TV front of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Here's another maybe uncomfortable fact. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see Jeff Passan's article this morning about expansion. Apparently, expansion, it's probably a little bit more realistic of a discussion than we've given it credit for, given the fact that the NBA feels like they're just on the verge of announcing it.
Yeah, expansion is a done. There is no race.
It's like the worst kept secret in professional sports, Las Vegas and Seattle, right? Like we got that. But the Major League Baseball, Jeff Passan, lays out expansion, why it makes sense. He talked about the Music City Baseball Group, where Nashville seemed to be like a surefire spot to land a team. How there's potentially 2 spots coming up, and he lists a long list of these are his words, a long list of potential expansion candidates: Charlotte, Portland, San Jose, Austin, Vancouver, Mexico City, with Nashville and Salt Lake City being the front runners. There is no reference whatsoever about Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
That was posted today.
Mm-hmm.
So that was posted, after with the understanding of what may be happening with the Oakland A's and the city of Sacramento. I'll go back to what you said on Friday, Casey. Like, Jake, if they were to move forward with this, if Sacramento were to move forward with hosting I don't know what you would refer to them as, but I'll just say the A's. If you move forward with hosting the A's, there has to be something somewhere that says that Sacramento moves up the line here for an expansion team. And it has to be in writing, and it has to be up to Sacramento to mess this up.
No,
otherwise you're not getting anything. Otherwise, you're not getting anything out of this, in my opinion, Jake.
No, you, Damien, you're spot on with that in terms of, well, you are getting more than just a guarantee. Okay, of course, professional baseball, who doesn't want to see Aaron Judge at Sutter Health Park for 4 to 5 years? Which, again, that's another situation where people are like, oh yeah, this is going to be a 2 or 3 year pit stop. No, guys, this is going to be a 4 or 5 year thing. They haven't broken down and broke ground in Las Vegas. I don't even know if they're going to move to Las Vegas. I got no idea. I was in
Jake,
Vegas in Super Bowl. What's up,
Jake? We talked about it. The A's might mess around and get stuck here.
Straight up.
You just get them here, they might get stuck here.
Straight up. I do like what you're saying, though, Damien, in terms of if they do decide to stay here, okay, they got to move their way up. And I read the article on Passan this morning when I was waking up, and I'm intrigued that Salt Lake City is one of the main places they want to go. What happens if it snows in April, fam? Like, are you just going to push games back, or is it going to be a dome over in Salt Lake City? Like, there's so many logistical questions that I have for Salt Lake. Nashville makes total sense, right? Throw them there. Their AAA team sells out all the time over there. When you're looking at the other location, Sacramento should be at the top of that list. And I agree with you, Damien. If they do decide to come here, they should not only be at the top 2, they should be at like at least top 5, if not top 2, of being considered for a home, because they have the land over in West Sac. They have the stadium, the structure of the stadium that can be expanded, so that location is kind of perfect. And 3, we need another sports team here in Sacramento. It's just simple as that, okay? The Kings are fantastic, but if the Kings had a little bit of competition, just a little bit, okay, with another professional sports team, man, this place would just absolutely explode. You look at what's going on with the MLS stuff, and that kind of subsided for a couple of months or weeks, whatever you want to say. But I don't know. I think this is just a home run decision if they decide to come to Sacramento.
Still waiting on that soccer stadium rendings. I mean, it's been a couple years now.
That's trash. Okay, that's just trash. Where's the Stronach group? Okay, I'm still waiting for them to come to Sacramento. Okay,
I'm still waiting for that. I mean, we buying other teams and all this other stuff. And no, hey, we're building a world-class stadium. Well, all right, sir. Okay.
Well, the rail yards are right there for the. It's the never. You know how people do them videos that say, I know our boys at HOF did. I'm from Sacramento. Of course, I'm gonna such and such. Yeah, I'm from Sacramento. Of course, I'm gonna bring up the rail yards. I'm from Sacramento. Of course, I'm waiting for Ron Burkle to come save us.
We need to do a sports one. We gotta do a sports one, man. But so here's the other thing about the A's in Sacramento, and I got all the respect in the world for A's fans. I know some personally, obviously, Kyle Madsen, James Ham, A's fans. I don't
Matt
mean
George,
to disrespect Matt George. I don't mean to disrespect them at all, as in their fandom and them staying in Oakland and all this other stuff. And maybe I'm biased, Jake. You can help me out with this one, but I don't see any reason why Fisher and Major League Baseball would want to stay in Oakland until they go to Vegas. I'll lay out some of the reasons. They stay in Oakland. The fan base, and they have their reasons for doing it. I understand all this, but they're actively saying we won't spend a dime as long as he's owner. So the 400 people that we saw all last year at those games is going to happen for another 3 years. Major League Baseball, you're supposed to be okay with that. The boycotts, whether it's outside the stadium or in the stadium, you're supposed to be okay with that for another 3 to 4 years. The way, and we're dealing with humans now, right? Like, people can say whatever they want about John Fisher. I'm not here to defend him at all, but I'm talking about like another human. Like, if I was John Fisher. So you saying everything that you're saying about me, and you want me to stay? You want me to help you out? No, I'll go somewhere else. You don't want to give me no money. You don't want to come to the games. You want to talk about how much of a buffoon I am? I don't have to stay in Oakland. I'll go to my friend's ballpark in Sacramento until I go to Vegas. So and then when people talk about the $70 million and all this other stuff here in Sacramento, that's already been taken care of. So play devil's advocate if you want to here, Jake. Tell me what reasons they have to stay in Oakland at this point.
They don't have any reasons aside from just pleasing the fan base, and I think the main reason would be the guarantee if they stayed there that they would be one of the expansion options. If the team does go to Vegas, okay, then the expansion options is going to be Nashville and Oakland. Just keep a team there, and we'll get a new owner like Joe Lacob. That guarantee is the only reason I would stay in Oakland. But you're right on this, all right?
But look, that wouldn't have nothing to do with you. It's John Fisher. Like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Oakland would want that, but y'all talk crazy to me for the last 10 years. What am I helping you out for?
Because MLB has got to be part of this conversation as well, Casey. Like, Manfred is part of these negotiations. He doesn't stand by and just say, okay, John, figure it out. All right. Like, John would just keep on doing nothing if that's the case, right? So I think Rob Manfred has a part in this, where the MLB would have to guarantee them to stay in. If they lower the price of the lease to stay at the Coliseum and have them there until they move to Vegas, the MLB would have to damn near guarantee them, saying, "Hey, we would get you an expansion franchise. We'll put a team here owned by Joe Lacob, because I know Lacob wants to keep the A's here, and we'll build this waterfront facility." But that's the only reason I can see. The other reason that I'm seeing, and maybe you guys can give me some pointers on this. Everyone's like, this situation with the A's is exactly what happened with the Kings and the Maloofs, and I don't see apples to orange. Like, they're two different situations. Am I right, guys, or am I just far off on that?
No,
They're
I don't.
adjacent, but they're not the same.
I don't see these things being the same at all.
Yeah.
So then why do they compare one to the other? Like, why is it like, oh my God, because the Kings were going to leave here in a couple years ago and move to Seattle, I have to have that same stance with the A's because they're leaving as well. Like, I don't understand that concept.
I think there's a lot of Kings fans that are A's fans, and there's probably a certain level of, pardon the term, but like trauma associated with that.
That's exactly.
And you know what I mean? Like, I hate what's happened to Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've lost the Raiders, they've lost the Warriors, they've lost, to some level, they've lost the A's, or will be losing the A's. Like, there's no professional sports team left in Oakland. Like, how is that possible? How did you have 3 sports teams playing right next to each other? Right. And now they're all gone. Like, I feel for them, but I'm also like this stance of Jake, you said this, where we talk about posturing and what Major League Baseball wants. Well, we want an expansion team for Oakland. I'm sorry, I'm not absolving Oakland of the issues here. I'm not absolving Oakland of the fact they have the trashiest stadium. Now, a lot of that is on Fisher. I'm not absolving Fisher of this either, but like there's kind of a hand-in-hand thing that has to go here. And the city of Oakland has an uphill battle should they choose to fight for this. Well, we want an expansion franchise and the name, the A's and the colors and all of that, because they have to show we can do this differently with a different owner. Right. And like that really just becomes like, my word is my bond. Like that's all you really have, because your track record shows you can't work with this owner, and therefore it reflects on you. That's the really like crappy part about where this is for Oakland. I'm sure Oakland feels like we can't work with. It's not that we can't work or we don't want to do business. We can't do business with him. And now, in my eyes, at least, that's damaging for Major League Baseball to look at you and go, you got the worst stadium in perhaps professional sports.
Yeah. Well, look, and
the Commanders still exist, so as long as
that was about to be
FedEx,
and that's almost gone. Yeah.
But both of you guys, look, I hate to sound like this to, like, again, all my A's fans and my people in Oakland. I lived in San Leandro, one BART stop from the Coliseum. I loved it over there. I had a great time while I was living there. But people get upset when they talk about taxpayers having to pay for stadiums and the owners, billion-dollar owners, should just pay for it themselves. I'm sorry. I look at this differently. I'm sorry. The game is the game. Is it right? No, I'm not here to say it's right, but that's the game. If you want your team, if you want Major League Sports in your city, the city has to be able to pay for it. Taxpayers, all this other stuff. It's not fair, but it's the game. And if you don't have to play the game. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to play the game. You don't have to have a team. You know what I mean? But that's the game. And this whole pie in the sky, like from what I'm hearing from Oakland, of they wanted like 50-50 Fisher to pay for this and they pay for it, or he foots the bill for a lot of it and they come in. Man, that's not realistic, man. If you want the A's, you're gonna have to pony up and pay for a majority of that stadium. That's the game. And if you're not willing to do that, you can't be in the game. We're dealing with reality and pies in the sky in this situation. And the reality is the city got to come up with the money to make that stadium for them or any other owner. Except for maybe Joe Lacob, because that's the guy they're waiting for on the white horse to come in there. Maybe he'd build with his own money. But other than that, like, the game is the game, bro.
I think that the A's fans have tunnel vision right now. And I hate to tell them that, because I have a good buddy that works with me, and he we text all the time about this stuff, and he is in it, deep into it. And he just can't accept that this is actually happening. And then you feel bad for a person like that, because that I think I put perspective for me. It's like, okay, the New York Yankees are moving away. Like, that's my hometown team. Like, oh my God, how terrible would that be? That's a shot in the heart right there, right? But there's also the reality of what's going on with this. This is going to happen. The fact that you're thinking it's not going to happen and it's all going to fall apart, like, there's too many cooks in the kitchen to make this thing not happen right now, right? Like, it's going to happen. How it's going to happen, if it falls apart, that's still remain to be seen, guys. But at the same time, like, a move will happen. It's not going to you're not going to keep on playing at the Oakland Coliseum. That I can guarantee. I also want to add one quick point that I didn't add as well with Sutter Health Park, guys. It's retrofitted for a Major League ballpark. They have updates that they've done this past year to the clubhouse, to the batting cages and everything like that, to make it MLB standard. And then they can also, in the outfield, they can build and expand to add bleachers out there. So, like, to add to this, it's not going to just be a AAA ballpark like the Blue Jays played during COVID with Toronto. Like, this can turn into a bigger, not a Major League stadium, but like right between AAA and Major League in terms of fan attendance.
What's your gut tell you? You think this happens?
My gut says that there's decisions going to be made in 3 weeks, and I think it's coming to Sac. I think this is a ploy to try to get Oakland back to the table and lower the lease agreement that they're going to have to pay for 3 years. But at the end of the day, this, as Casey pointed out, it makes too much sense for them not to come here. It just makes too much sense. And everyone's like, well, what happens with the River Cats? Well, Vivek Ranadive owns the Sutter Health Park. Like he don't like that. That's not the big deal. What the big deal is, okay, if they do come to here, how do we retrofit that stadium? What do we do with parking? How do we get the logistics down? But everything else is kind of basically taken place. So my gut feeling says they will be here next year. We will see the Yankees here. We will see the Red Sox here. We'll see the Rangers, Miami, whoever you want to say. Every big league player is going to make their way through Sacramento next year, and probably for 4 or 5 years after that, which I think would be great for not only just the city of West Sacramento and Sacramento revenue-wise, because it's going to be another revenue stream that we don't have, but two, it's going to spotlight this great city and say, hey, if there's a big shark out there that's thinking about trying to invest money someplace, like here's another example of why it can work in Sacramento. And Sacramento's unfortunately sometimes just takes too long to make a decision. They're kind of behind on the times. Be forward thinking with this, okay? It will benefit you tenfold if you pull the trigger and it makes it happen.
I hope you're right, Jake. I actually don't think it's going to happen. I think Oakland will acquiesce to whatever they need to keep that team there for a little bit, even if they don't have a guarantee of expansion. I think at the end of the day, they'll do that.
I was thinking about that as you guys were talking, and I think despite like all of the name calling and all of the ridiculousness between the franchise and the city, we all know how hard it is to move.
Yeah.
You think about moving, you think about packing up your house and moving. Okay, think about packing up a franchise and moving, and not like you didn't buy your forever home. You're renting until the new spot is done.
Right.
That means you got to move twice.
Right.
Nobody wants to do that. And it could all come down to a marriage of convenience. Yeah. It could be as simple as that.
I think the key, is Oakland is going to have to come down on their asking price and everything that they're trying to demand. Oakland trying to play hardball, and a lot of people don't think the Sacramento thing is real. I think it's really real. Like if you play too much hardball, they'll leave on you. But as long as they, come down a little bit off their asking price and all this other stuff, unfortunately, Jake, I think they'll end up staying in Oakland. And I don't mean that as like, unfortunately, the Oakland A's will stay, but just unfortunately, they'll stay there before they move to Vegas.
Guys, we're just posturing with all this. Remember this, like we don't know. I wish we could have a seat at the table and figure out what's going on, but I'm not privy to that. I only got sources that are somewhat there and tell me a couple of things, but like again, it's hard, man.
Yeah.
Jake, we appreciate you, man. Great to spend some time with you, my brother.
You're the man, big
guys.
Dog.
I miss you. Okay, guess where I'm going this week? I want you to guess. I was in Jackson Hole last week. Where am I going this week?
Where were you last week?
I was in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I
do a double thing. Where?
I don't know.
Where the hell were you?
Calling. That's well.
Where are you going to be this week?
You're going to Old Saybrook.
No, I'm going to Vail, Colorado, fam. Just the step below Aspen. Okay, there's Aspen and then there's Vail. I'll be going to Vail.
Jake a big time skier.
Yeah,
he's good on.
When was the last time you've been to Compton?
I don't think I visited. Okay, that's a place where I haven't visited yet, guys. I need you two to be my people to show me around the place. Okay, tour guide if you can, please. Okay,
people out there in Compton.
Jake, we appreciate it. Have fun and have fun on all of your adventures. And,
my white boy adventures, baby. It's my white boy adventures. Let's roll. Okay.